Hello, I am here with my good friend Saggy Melons. I'm pretty sure you know her from this channel. If not, go subscribe. I'll put her channel in the description. And it's a little more sensitive subject, and I think Saggy's done a great job on some topics. And I'm kind of out of my element on this one, I got to be honest. And then I did do my research, and that it is interesting to do research. And I want to make sure I handle this well. So she's here to correct me in case I steer off course. If you want to see me steer off course, look on last night's live stream. I leave up my mistakes. You know, I was trying to get a point to try not to condemn people until all the facts are out and if there's updates. And there's not. I do have some updates, which I also covered with Isaac the other night. But here's some things you should know. And before I cover this, because I also like when you have to get to the source of the accusations, you have to actually look at the people accusing Jared Leto. And that may be uncomfortable, especially since some of them said at the time of the incident they were underage. So keep that in mind. Do not message these people because one is on Twitter still. I will get to the ones that are no longer available first. And that does not mean anything. That doesn't mean the accusations were not credible. It just means that the source of the accusations are now gone. And there's no updates on them. So take that for what you will. So Caden actually helped us out with an article that had a lot of accusations from years ago. And then we'll get to the more recent one that surfaced a year or two ago. I covered this with Isaac the other day. So this article says another Cosby, and there's two hyperlinks here, a Tumblr post and this post. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics. You can read it for yourself. What's this website? Contemptor.com, another Cosby. Just Google that. And I'm not going to read all the specifics because, you know, it's explicit. But what you should know, it does help to add context to everything. You agree with that, Saggy?
Yeah.
So this person that's making the accusation on Tumblr had a situation that sounds like it was consensual at the beginning, an encounter, but after felt uncomfortable with how it went down.
Right.
Still should be considered very serious if someone's too aggressive in the act. Right? But you do have to at least examine that part. And then the other person here, which is very alarming, said I had this with him when I was 15. That's against the law. That should be taken very seriously. And then there's one other instance with also has a hyperlink that says they were a adult performer at a strip club and Jared Leto put their hands around her neck, which we're supportive of adult performers and no one should cross the line. And we need our adult performers to feel safe in their working environment. So that is also very serious. The adult performer one is the one that is still up through the hyperlink. I'm not going to go to there, but that one is still live. But basically said that Jared Leto's brother was getting a lap dance or something, and Jared Leto put his hands on her neck. That's not cool. I hope that didn't happen. Like all these accusations, our main thing is we hope none of them are true because that means there's a victim, you know, and we don't want to hear about any victims. So there you go. That one is still live. Let me bring up the ones with the hyperlink. This is the first one from the Tumblr page. Again, this does not clear Jared of any wrongdoing, but it's now gone, not found. It's something else now. So either, and this was also years ago. No, websites change very frequently through the years. So this means nothing. It could mean maybe it was resolved with Jared Leto's representation, but that's speculating. Does not mean it. It could be still a valid accusation, but this is the person that said they had a relationship and they felt uncomfortable after it was over. So that, and then I don't plan on covering this specific topic again, unless there's new accusations, because it's very difficult. It's very difficult.
Well, the reason why I think people are now bringing this back up is because you have a thing where anyone starts getting into a position of power or they start rising and stuff, people will start looking at their past to see, if they have anything damning. And like the biggest thing that why this, I'm assuming like this has been brought up because of the James Gunn stuff, because of James Gunn's past behaviors, and the comparison to what Jared Leto was accused of. Now, again, I don't think that's fair to compare the two because on one hand, you have James Gunn who made very inappropriate jokes, whether they were jokes or comments, they were still inappropriate, and he already kind of was held accountable for that.
Yes, there are also, whether you think it's right or not, there's a lot of people that feel the associations, they're basically playing guilt by association with themed parties and who he's associated with in Hollywood, who he has some friends in the past that were convicted of some very bad things. That does not condemn James Gunn, though. Yes, I understand it's not a direct parallel, and I've kind of failed in that. I just was trying to say, let's not condemn people. And it's actually through your Saggy and Enosh's coverage of the Ezra Miller that I want to be more careful about things. And I was kind of blindsided when last week when I covered the Tron 3 news, and then this kept consistently coming up. Lots of people have strong feelings about Jared Leto still based on these things.
Well, the thing is, like, I mean, everyone is entitled to feel the way they feel about these things. But the thing that's very important is when you're dealing with serious criminal accusations, you need to make sure without a doubt that these people are guilty, because you're dealing with celebrities who, yes, they have lives, they're human, they do have sexual relations like adults do, but the question is how much of it was actually consenting, how, are they of legal age? And with Jared Leto's case, if there were minors involved, I would think that there would be an investigation. Due process is still needed to go through for these situations. So, I mean, the fact that it hasn't gone to court, Jared Leto hasn't filed any lawsuits for defamation. Still gets work. It seems like it might have been, it could have been a situation where it was overlooked, which would be sucky. And I think it is important for like Jared Leto to kind of maybe address some of these accusations. But when you click that link and there's nothing found, it says to me like maybe it was handled back then behind the scenes. And there was just no word of it. Again, when it comes to these things,
it does sound like someone that had consent at the beginning and felt uncomfortable afterwards. That doesn't make it better. It doesn't. I'm just saying there should be at least some consideration there, I think, right? It's kind of weird,
Well, once consent is withdrawn, that's it. It doesn't matter after the fact. Like, just because you consented one time, it was for that moment. You could take it back.
But from what the article that was there, because they gave a summarization in that article, it was they consented, but then it felt aggressive and violent during the act. So sorry to hear anyone has that experience, and it doesn't minimize it at all. I'm just, it's complicated when something like that happens. I don't know. Yeah. So I hope this was handled, but the page is no longer to be found. Let me bring up the other one. This is the one that said they were 15. And this one, unfortunately, also, and that is a horrible accusation, is not found. So the only one that's still live out of I found 4 accusations so far, besides the James Gunn and the other actor alluding that he likes them young. And James Gunn was kind of throwing a joke there. 2 are not found. 1 is still live. And I'm not giving excuses. If you're inebriated and you touch the talent at a strip club, that doesn't make it better. I'm not saying he even had alcohol. You do not touch the talent. These especially that type of career, we really have to make sure that those people stay safe that are in that type of work. So this is gone. The last one is and I'll bring up the context first of where this got started. And this is the one that got the most traction recently. This is like since James Gunn did the Suicide Squad And maybe he does know something from Margot Robbie, because as far as we know, we've heard lots of things that Margot was not very happy with the way Jared was on set,
Right.
That's the other reason that it's getting so much traction. But this was actually, this is the one that got the most traction recently, January 14th of 2021. Claire, you could read it there. When I was 14, Jared Leto asked my friend, also 14, to come up to his hotel room. Now, that it sounds like Jared gets a little bit too close, regardless if it's across the line, to some of Jared's fans. And there's a lot of young fans for 30 Seconds to Mars. There's a lot of followers. Not justification. There's a lot of celebrities that get too close to their fans. I mean, that's a common criticism of Zack Snyder, of Ethan Van Sciver. Ethan Van Sciver interacts with his fans all the time. And I'm not throwing shade at it. I'm not giving excuses. I'm just showing this here. So I've also researched who this person is. If they're still on Twitter, they are still on Twitter. And then this is the other reason it got so much traction recently, is there was an actor and James Gunn that after Claire made that tweet, they added on, this is so Dylan Sprouse, how you slid into DMs of every female model aged 18 to 25. What would you say your success rate is? And then James Gunn signed a kind of it's sort of a joke, but also alluding that he might know more. He starts at 18 on the internet, suggesting in a comedic way that maybe he goes younger off the internet, right?
Right.
So that's the other reason that this got so much traction recently. All right, now let me exit. I'm just going to exit some tabs because I also, you're helping me do this because I had all these tabs of research up. And
which is
all
good.
Right, so now I've researched the claim that's the most recent from Claire on Twitter. Okay. And I've now followed Claire as well. 75K followers. I think this is the dumbest reply I've gotten when I was 14. Yeah, that is a dumb reply. And then I Googled, is there any info on Claire? Not that again, don't send anything towards Claire, please, to find out who this person is, and this may not be true.
Funny. The name is funny. I'm like, the name, like, I'm wondering if that's a real name.
This may be, and this is from Reddit. Take that for what you will. This is also who this is. This may not be true. So I did a very shallow dive on Claire, aka Zero Suit Camus, Hessie Denny, the Sundance Kid. And apparently, she is a very young trans woman, Brooklynite, who dabbles. Now, this is what's most intriguing to me, not the trans part. And we are allies to the LGBTQ and trans community. And I don't want that. I don't want people to misconstrue, just because this person happens to be trans, that has any relevation, any consideration to the authenticity of the claims. But it should also add some context to who, if it was accurate, that Jared Leto invited up to the hotel room. This is why I'm like, I don't want to step in a landmine here. Okay. But who dabbles in film and music and takes a lot of arty online pictures when out clubbing and makes a lot of sarcastic film, pop culture, and graphic novel, manga, literary posts. Now, to me, that sounds like that's be someone that would really get along with Jared, besides any other accusations, like artsy, dabbles in film and music. That's everything Jared Leto's about. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying if this person was a Brooklynite, I think, based on what I know about Jared Leto and the music, art, that may be the same type of scene. So what is the actual accusation that Claire made, invited me up to the hotel room? Not anything beyond that, and we hope not. We hope
right.
Not.
Right.
Okay. So that there is some context there. So if I were even going to reach out to Claire and say, okay, so what does that mean? You're in the same type of scene. I hope nothing happened, but I don't even want to, I'm not even going to contact Claire because I hope nothing happened. All right. And then I did some research on this. And again, this is odd because you're showing a picture of someone that was, I will be showing a picture now of their Twitter where they said this publicly, so I'm not doing anything private. They shared their transition. So that's great. That's great that they shared that publicly. But at the time when Jared Leto may have asked them up to the hotel room, this may be the identity of the person that went up to the hotel room. And that does not mean anything. I'm just giving some context. This is hard for me to do. Okay, here we go. So this may be at the time what Claire, the status Claire was at the time when allegedly Jared Leto said, "Hey, you and a friend come up to the hotel room," and they may be in certain scenes, and they all, honestly, in that original tweet, besides maybe suggesting that they had inappropriate contact with minors, them not saying what, male, female, or what do they identify, or pre-transition, after transition. That's still not great. But this is some context, and they shared this publicly, so I do not feel like I'm providing any private information. So far, correct me if I'm doing anything across the line, Saggy. I'm trying to handle it good. Thank God I transitioned.
No, I mean, I think that what it is, like, because I'm kind of interested. Like, I'm looking at the name, I'm looking at the language in this tweet, and I'm sitting here like, is this a troll? Like, that's what I'm thinking, because it doesn't feel like genuine.
Okay. Well, to be honest, if this is also very intriguing, and can I be honest with you, Saggy? I would love if you've covered this in a video too, not to put pressure on you, because it's very interesting, because this is what got the most traction, and see how news spread so fast. Like James Gunn jumped on that too, because James Gunn may have some inside info from people at DC of how bad he was. Well, I'm not saying Jared Leto was great on the set of the Suicide Squad.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing that people don't understand. Like, remember, you remember those comedy roasts on Comedy Central?
Yeah.
And like, you know how they always used to make jokes? Like, what was that one actor that they like made those? Oh, the dude from Full House, the one that passed away.
Okay.
The father.
Yeah.
God, what's his name? Oh my God, why can't I remember his name now?
I'm horrible with names too. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh my
damn
God,
it, Funniest Home Video guy.
Yes, yeah. Why can't we remember his name now?
Hold on, now I gotta Google.
Now I can't remember. Why we really are brain farting? How do I not remember his name? Father from Full House. God, it's gonna be so.
Bob Saget.
Bob Saget. Why couldn't I think of his name? Bob Saget. Yeah, sorry.
Because you have problems like I do. I think not as bad as mine, but
yeah. Right. So Bob Saget, when he did the comedy roast, if you go back and look at that comedy roast of Bob Saget, you'll notice that there was a lot of like jokes about him being into the Olsen twins a little too much and making those type of jokes. Then like down the line, there've been people who made like those accusations on Bob Saget. So it's like sometimes it's like you wonder, like, is it a joke? Is it meant to be a joke? Why are these jokes? Like, it made sense, I guess, for Bob Saget, because like the Olsen twins grew up on that show, and they were like at that time full-grown adults and very beautiful young ladies. And maybe that was the joke. But again, it's very weird. Like this account, while you were talking, I was like looking at their account, and I'm like reading the comments. I'm like, I don't know if like this account is being serious or not with some of the other tweets. I don't know. I don't want to assume, but it's like something that I think people should really look into.
Well, if you would like do it, what you will. Before I minus all my research, I'm getting down all the hyperlinks and going to send it to you just in case you also want to cover. So you don't. It'll be easier for you if you'd like to. No pressure, because I've actually spent a few hours on this. Okay. So I think I got everything I have there in a notepad. Okay, so I think there's some context there that you should consider. I respect anyone that comes public about their transition, and I'm an ally. I want to be an ally to people that from the trans community, and it's honestly something I don't know a lot about. Like I had they also, I did had some other tweets. The only reason I found this is they were talking about HRT, and I'm like, what's HRT? Before hormone replacement therapy, and therapy, and I didn't know what that meant. And then I started looking at this, and I'm like, well, is this even like, sometimes people do face apps to see what they look like at a different gender? I'm like, is that what Claire's doing? And then I found this. No, they came public with that they transitioned and this. So if the accusation is accurate, as far as we know, Claire, at this time, this may be what Claire looked like at the time. Maybe potentially pre-transition, pre-hormone therapy.
Well, it says face app.
Yeah. That's what I don't know. But they also said, I don't know. Then they said this, and then also with the Reddit, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I mean, like I said, I looked at the account and I'm just like very confused because like the name and I mean,
they also the name of the name is Claire.
But I actually am noticing that they do have a transgender comedian that I following them, so it could be possible. They have 7,000 followers, so I mean, again, I don't know. I know that when it comes to serious allegations, you always have to research and, wait for more information to come out, wait for evidence, and wait to see if it actually goes to court, because that's the biggest key thing that people need to understand is like due process is necessary on both parties, whether it's the accusers or the accused. Like it's on both of them to do something about it when you have serious criminal accusations come out about you. But
to be honest, that tweet that got all that traction, they didn't really accuse them anything except inviting them up to a hotel room, being 14 and a friend.
Right. So I mean, it could have been a joke. I mean, again, when you look at this person's Twitter account, it seems like they tend to make a lot of like trolly jokes. Mm-hmm. So again, it could be real. It could just be.
It got a lot of traction. It actually, that is what at the time. This is the most recent one. This is the thing that got James Gunn to say, "Oh, he starts at 18 on the internet," suggesting he goes younger in real life, which also could just be a joke. But I don't think, to be honest, I don't think James Gunn likes Jared Leto. And honestly, I don't know them personally, but I don't think Margot Robbie likes Jared either. And there's something that Warner Bros. Has consistently gone with Margot and not Jared too. And we don't know all the context that happened on the Suicide Squad set. But apparently, from info is Margot wasn't happy and does not like, and wanted to go a different way with the character. But those are the 4 accusations I found so far. If there are any new accusations or anything I haven't covered, please DM them to me on Twitter. I don't want to cover this within this that much because I'm out of my element. But 2 are no longer found from years ago. One is an adult performer that felt uncomfortable when performing for Jared's brother. And this person on Twitter who basically said was invited to the hotel room. If Reddit is true, who knows if it is? It's 50-50 on Reddit, maybe less. Saying that they are in like the artsy film music community. So there may have been many reasons that Jared invited someone up to the hotel room, but you do have to be careful with that with underage people, even if you're in a similar field. And I don't want to paint and frame it like that's as innocent as it was. We don't know. There was not a lot of context in that tweet, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And take allegations seriously, for at least for like, not seriously, but more like take them seriously, but like dig into it before you make a conclusion to like what you believe, because again, we have people making accusations all the time with little to no evidence, and people will just jump on it because again, when it's dealing with a celebrity or public figure, everyone just wants to like fight over it. It's like, well, just wait to see the evidence. If there's evidence and it's shown, like, come to your own conclusions. And then if there is something you feel like it needs it, like, I think Jared Leto 100% should have addressed this. I don't know if he did. I don't know if it was handled behind the scenes. Because it went away.
The most aggressive stuff is gone. from the past, except for the stripper story. And then the most recent is lacking a lot of context. And that's the one where lots of articles, there was Newsweek articles. There was all kind of articles that had 3 quotes. This Claire, James Gunn, and the other one, the other actor that says, 18 to 23. And in those most recent that got the most traction in the last few years, there's people may be joking. Even the actor that says 18 to 23 is kind of somewhat joking as well, maybe throwing shade too, but not actually hardcore accusations in the most recent stuff. The stuff that had the most aggressive and painted the worst picture is years ago, and 2 of the 3 are disappeared. Does not mean they weren't valid. I hope I did good enough on this. I appreciate your help, Saggy. What do you think? Now that we've gone through these are the 4 instances I could find. What do you think about Jared Leto? At least we should, slow down when anyone's. I think at least that we should slow down when someone says they're basically thinking he's like a Bryan Singer.
Right.
That it's, I think we should at least slow down and take a second thought when you bring up Jared Leto and accusations. At least that's all.
I mean, I think again, yeah. I mean, I think the only issue that I originally had with this situation was the comparison to James Gunn. But as far as like these accusations, they were years ago, and the fact that they just kind of disappeared, it's like it's tricky. It's a really tricky situation. Like you always want to hope that they're not true, but it's always okay to be like, well, then why did they come out in the first place? What actually happened? And I think that Jared should have. I mean, if he didn't handle it behind the scenes, which is why they disappeared, then like if they still keep getting brought up, like what is the story so that it can get cleared up, so that it doesn't keep being brought up when it's convenient. Every time Jared Leto does something, it's going to be brought back to, remember those accusations? Like, okay, well, why is no one, I don't know, like dealing with it so that it just goes away, so it doesn't keep being brought up. But yeah, no, I think you did a good job. I'm glad that you actually like took the time to like research.
Well, I did research some of it a year or 2 ago with the Sex Island stuff, with him talking to his fans like, oh yeah, we wear robes, because he's a weird individual. Like, I'm not like a super fan of Jared either. I'm not like I like a few of the things he's in, but so I researched that, and I saw him interacting with his fans like, oh yeah, we all wear robes now because we got called a cult, so we're just rolling with it as like a joke, an inside joke. And I was like, okay. But I appreciate your help with that. I think that'll do it for this, and I really don't want to talk about it much again. I know YouTubers say that, but I really would rather not. I'd rather just talk about Tron 3, and if Jared Leto. Now, I do want to make also an apology to RJ. I didn't mean to lump RJ. I don't know. Should I apologize to RJ? I am. I didn't mean to lump RJ into the accusation camp for Jared Leto. He just thinks Jared's a bad actor. So I want to clarify that for RJ. RJ was more critical of Jared's acting ability than past behavior.
RJ also still smells, so it's okay.
I agree. Andy has an Xbox now. Now it's a smelly Xbox. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, God. Now he's an Xbox gamer. Ugh.
He's an Xbot now.
Oh, God.
Saggy, I still got to play. What do you play now? Apex Legends still or no?
I mean, I mostly play Overwatch now.
Overwatch? Is that free to
it's
join?
Free now. Yeah, it's free.
Okay, I got to try Overwatch eventually in Fortnite. I got to get into that. But thank you for joining me. Go sub to Saggy, and we'll see you later.